with the traffickers and they're exploiting often vulnerable people and marginalized people, but what are some of those vulnerabilities that they work for, and like making it clear that this can happen by anyone to anyone. And so what are those vulnerabilities that they might really look to be taking advantage of in people?
Yeah, so we know that um, I'm just gonna, we actually, so part of our training is, some of our trainings is talking about um, the vulnerabilities and the trafficking population. So structural inequalities are some of the things that can create conditions for human trafficking. So individuals who are part of socially disadvantaged and marginalized communities, migrants, refugees, newcomers, indigenous folks, individuals who have substance dependencies or mental health issues, individuals who don't have a lot of strong connections, who are isolated maybe from their family, or who don't have that strong support network. Youth, particularly those coming out of protection or custody, because they don't have that same natural support, and LGBTQ2SA plus folks. But again, it could happen to anyone. So these are the factors that we know increase the risk. But we see individuals as well who, they do have connections, and that grooming takes place over such a long period of time, that they learn to trust the trafficker over those connections, and that psychological manipulation piece takes place as well. So
which leads us right into what I wanted to talk about next, is what are some of those luring or grooming tactics that the traffickers frequently use?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry. So there's something called love bombing, which is, that creating that romantic fantasy around being someone's protector, showing someone who maybe otherwise hasn't received that kind of love, the love and support, which changes over time, offering these individuals a life of connection, or a life maybe together with the trafficker in certain instances, offering them support, offering them money, love, trust, gifts. One thing that's important to talk about as well, again, from the UN 2020 global report, is that traffickers have integrated technology into their business model at every stage of the process. And that now that we are relying more on technology amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, we have to be aware of this reality. And two of the techniques used often on social media or online are the strategies of hunting, which is what they call it, involving a trafficker actively pursuing a victim, typically on social media. So that's them pursuing the individual. That may look like, in the case of labor trafficking, the individual posting on Kijiji that they need a job, and that's their hunting. There's also phishing, which is when the trafficker, the perpetrator, posts a job, an advertisement, something, and then wait for the victims to respond. It also allows, technology and the internet allows for, in the case of sex trafficking, for these victims to be live streamed, and for that consumption to be possible around the globe, and for them to make that money as well, right?
So on that note, and I know this takes us a little bit off topic, but just quickly, so you identified that the phishing and the hunting through job ads and that type of thing, and then you also just mentioned about the live streaming, and so realizing that live streaming can be a form of sex trafficking that happens as well. It's not necessarily just the act, like in-person act. It can be this live streaming of whatever it is that they live stream.
Exactly. And like I said earlier, we know that traffickers often closely monitor the movement of their victims, but also their phones, their media accounts, their emails, right? And so them having control of these accounts allows for those live streams and those to a whole other layer as well, right?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for giving us some insight and a closer look at the traffickers and what that piece of this puzzle looks like. Thank you so much. And again, we will share the resources that we referred to, and the everything that we shared will be available after this video. So thank you. Thank you so much, Cassandra.
Thank you for giving us this platform and for sharing the resources.
Thank you.